Welcome, everybody, to Facebook Live on a Thursday. And no, that is not a hologram. That is the actual Bob Nagel back with us. Good to have you back.
It's good to be back, and so grateful to the help that we got from Corey Mann and also Bill Beck. And what a start to the season. I mean, we've seen a lot of one-sided games early on, but we've also seen some of the best players already here in Northern Indiana and in Michigan.
So let's get you ready for week 3 of the season in Indiana, week 2 of the season in Michigan. We'll start with a Michigan matchup, and that has a battle of the unbeatens. Berrien Springs going to Constantine. The Shamrocks, small in number but mighty last week against Grand Rapids West Catholic. They only have 24 players. Somehow they managed to score 28 points and beat Grand Rapids West Catholic 28-3. Now they have to go to Constantine, a team that, well, humiliated Union City. They beat them 60-0, and the Shamrocks have never beaten the Falcons.
And that was another one of those games that they didn't stop the clock in the second half,
Yeah.
60-0. You know, the biggest thing here might be just the fact that they're going to Constantine.
Yeah.
It's a home game for Constantine, and I think Berrien Springs is an amazing team when you think about 24 guys. I've heard of teams being the Dirty 30.
Yeah.
But it's hard to come up with a name for the double dozen.
Yes, exactly.
From Berrien Springs, but they, the players they have are experienced and they have a lot of talent, and it'll be a good game. But somehow I just think the home field's going to help Constantine.
Well, we'll make picks tomorrow night. All we have to do is preview today. Let's go into the state of Indiana. The 100th meeting between the Plymouth Rockies and the Warsaw Tigers on the gridiron, a series that dates back to 1924. And if you're going to take a look at this Plymouth team, well, Blake Reed is gone, but you know who's back? Joe Barron, and he's 4th in the state and tossing it up there, and he's got a pretty good receiver in that guy, Garrett Schrameyer, who can haul him in. I look for Plymouth to try to continue that passing game, but can they stop that Warsaw option attack?
Well, that's going to be a big question for them on defense, but I think the Warsaw Tigers might be a pretty good defensive team as well. You know, when Bart Curtis went there, he had to change the culture. And one of the big things was, you know, getting tougher and hitting better on defense. So I think their secondary is going to be up for a good challenge against Plymouth, but I think they'll do okay. And this is going to come down to, well, last year it came down to a field goal that is they're still reviewing it from what we understand. But it could be down to the wire again between these two, and they have a great respect for each other.
One area to watch in this game, too, is the battle in special teams, because Plymouth has the state's best kick returner in Ivan Winkle, and Warsaw has one of the state's best kickers in Harrison Mevis. Can Mevis neutralize Winkle by putting the ball into the end zone for touchbacks? He's done that 12 out of 13 times this year. Warsaw's got to have a lot of confidence coming off that 20-19 win over Michigan City last week on the road. Now they get to return to Fisher Field. Should be a great ball game tomorrow night in Warsaw. Battle of ranked teams. We have 3 top 10 matchups to feature. How about number 9 Northwood going to number 5 Concord? We saw Northwood last week, and Nate Newcomer and the boys had their hands full against Chittard. It's not often that you might say Concord looks easier, but when you can compare them to Chittard, maybe they do.
Yeah, and it's going to really depend on how much confidence Northwood comes back with after that tough loss. I know there was a lot of teaching going on during that game, and I give the coaches a lot of credit. Yeah, the game was out of hand early on, but we're not going to stop. We're going to try to work on some things that can help us. They still have a lot of speed. They still have a lot of quickness, but defensively, they were really challenged by Chittard last week, and they get challenged by Kane and company for Concord this week.
Well, Concord certainly boasts one of the area's better quarterbacks in Ethan Kane. He's thrown for over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns so far this season. And keep an eye on a young man by the name of Carter Neveraski. He's a two-way player. A lot of people look for him on offense, but defense so far, he leads Concord with 11 tackles, and he has 2 interceptions, and he could really be a thorn in the side of the Panthers tomorrow night. I'm telling you, over the years, really good Northwood teams have gone to Dunlap and kind of met their Waterloo there.
And it's a little early in the season to be talking about conference championships, but, you know, every one of them means so much, and you got 2 ranked teams going at it, and there is conference indications on the results of this game on who's going to be in charge.
If you like old school running the football, Amzie Miller Field is the place to be tomorrow night over in New Carlisle. That's where number 9 Endre takes on number 3 New Prairie. Chase Ketterer and the boys, well, they continue to run the football well. Ketterer throwing it there. But you know what? He's 8th in the state in rushing right now. He's also got Chris Mays in that backfield who's healthy. They go up against an Andrean team. Last week, Ryan Walsh, 302 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns in the win over Hanover Central.
Certainly an impressive performance there. The thing I like about New Prairie is the size that they have in the trenches. They are huge. Again, a team that's ranked number 3 in the state and play with a lot of confidence. Russ Radke's really built a great program there. Playing at home, I think that's a good opportunity for them. And Andrean is one of those teams that's sort of like LaPorte on their schedule. You don't have to worry about being up for this one. This is a traditional rivalry, and they've had some tough losses to Andrean, but they've also had some good wins.
I think Russ likes these games to get his team ready for that rugged NIC North schedule as well. So that should be a good one. And then down in Lakeville, number 8 Pioneer against number 7 LaVille. We're not used to seeing Pioneer ranked anywhere but number 1, but they lost on opening night this year, so they're beatable. But the Lancers have never beaten them. Can this be the year for Will Hostrasser's team?
Well, if I'm Will, I'm just putting number 7 up on the board and saying we're number 7, they're number 8. So maybe expect to be able to play well against them. And LaVille has some great offensive players. No question about it, and that's going to be their strength. Can they outscore Pioneer? And Pioneer's been one of those teams that, you know, they put 40, 50, 60 points on the board all during the season. They did lose their season opener, but it's a great program down there.
Huh, great program. Adam Berry's 45-2 as the head coach at Pioneer during his tenure there. But you mentioned the great offensive talent that LaVille has. Aiden Doyle at quarterback, Colby Watts, Andrew Dill. They've got some explosive players. Could be a shootout tomorrow night in Lakeville. The 77th meeting between Riley and Adams happens at TCU School Field on Friday night. Riley comes in 2-0, Adams 0-2. We were talking about this before we started rolling. You hate to say in week 3 a team's got a must-win game, but it might be that way for the Adams Eagles right now. Riley coming in, though, I like the way Jarvis Edison's team is playing, especially with Senator Brown at quarterback.
Well, we saw him a couple years ago, and we thought that he was, you know, he got in late in the game, and he had some good minutes, but we were really impressed with his leadership ability, and he's really gone on to become a very good quarterback. A very good quarterback at Adams, too. Antoine Jones has been talking about this kid.
Ira
Armstead for 3 years, and what a great player he is and how he's going to lead this team to a great season. You're 0-2, and it's almost a must-win for Adams and for Antoine Jones and company and playing Riley. It's a team that he knows well. 2 Notre Dame former players going at each other in this ball game, and I would expect it's going to be pretty wide open. There's going to be some scoring in this one.
There should be, and Adams got the victory last year at Jackson Field. We'll see if revenge is on the mind of the Riley Wildcats as they take on the Eagles on Friday night. And then our marquee matchup, the Holy War, the 59th renewal of the rivalry between St. Joe and Marion. The last 2 have been 1-point games. St. Joe lost by 1 at Atulski Field 2 years ago. They won by 1 last year, 7-6 at Father Bly Field. You were at both practices yesterday and came away impressed with the St. Joe Indians.
I was impressed with their skill positions. Their running back, John Driscoll, is perhaps maybe one of the premier backs in the state of Indiana. And then their wideouts are good athletes. And if they can get the ball out there, now Eck is a young quarterback, inexperienced a little bit. Obviously, he played behind a great quarterback for a couple of years, but I think if he can get the ball to those receivers with a little bit of space for them to create, they're going to be a challenge for the Marion Knights. But Marion, on the other hand, not only has a solid offense, but they have one that's kind of based on the run. And DeBow is a good running back, and they've got a nice plan, and Mike Davidson's doing a good job. Of course, his specialty is always defense.
And they are playing great defense. They're among the top 10 in both scoring offense and scoring defense so far. The question for Marion with that 2-0 record, the caliber of the opposition they've played. They beat Clay, they beat Glenn. Are they ready for a St. Joe team that has played 2 pretty good teams so far in Concord and Northridge? We'll have to see how that all shakes out. And of course, we will see it live on Facebook at 7 o'clock and then on TV-46 Friday night 11, Saturday morning at 9. I want to go off the board with one other game. Clay has a 31-game losing streak, and I'm telling you folks, I think it's coming to an end tomorrow night. they take on Hammond. They had Hammond on the ropes last year up in the region. Lightning came in the second quarter. It wasn't an official game. They couldn't count it. They couldn't reschedule it because they couldn't get buses. I want to see if Garrett Fields and the Colonials can snap that 31-game losing streak tomorrow night.
Well, it's been a long time, and he has done some good things. You can see some improvement in the program at Clay. But, again, getting a win reminds me of the Cleveland Browns a couple years ago. You know, can they stop this streak? And if they do, maybe it turns them around.
So good luck to Clay, and we will see you tomorrow night with 46 picks and our live stream on Facebook at 7 o'clock from Bob Atulski Field for the Holy War, St. Joe and Marion. For the rejuvenated Bob Nagel, it's Chuck Freeby on Facebook Live.